alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! Scores it quickly, Origi!
Hey, hello, everybody. And I see we've already got 3 people waiting. Today is the day that we get excited because tomorrow is my mic working.
Don't worry, we can hear you,
It's
brother.
100%. We love you. We love you,
We
Claude.
can hear you, bro.
You're doing well.
All right. Okay, thank you. No. Okay, so tomorrow Premier League starts. We know today we're going to be covering season preview. As you can tell, we've got a full house. Mosa decides to make an appearance. Shocker, because Chelsea did the business last night. I mean, no surprise there. Matt is
He's
in the
been
house.
busy. He's been busy signing Lukaku. He was there, just greasing palms, making sure the deal got done. Well done, Moss. Well done.
I've been busy crying about the Lukaku signing, gentlemen. Sorry, man. I've been huddled up at home just weeping about the fact that they signed that guy for close to £100 million. But yeah.
I think you're the only one. Is he the only one in the show that's complaining about the signing?
The only person
Probably
that's
in the world.
complaining, guys.
Probably in the world at the moment.
He does have the first touch of a trampoline, but yeah, I would take him any day of the week.
You've seen him in
Trampoline
the-
is very accurate.
You guys have seen him give a tutorial as to how he
you know-
turns
Listen,
the-
if you're comparing Goalloungentv and
Goalloungentv.
Lukaku, I think it's chalk and cheese. Chalk and cheese.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, before we get into
Yeah,
the
it's a
actual
fair
findings
comparison,
and the
to be
things,
honest.
Don't cry, man. Don't cry, Musa. Don't worry, man. He's gonna surprise you guys. I think he's a good signing for you guys. You mustn't cry, man. Come on, man.
Also, bear in mind how many goals.
You're
does he
just
have to
happy that
get
Man
to be an
United got some
improvement?
money from the deal.
Yes, bring it to me, man. Bring me 5 million euros, man. Bring it to me, man. Thanks, man.
Lads are happy.
can you see what happens, guys? Mosa disappears, it comes back, and everyone just forgets how the show runs. Like, hey, there's someone that needs to drive, and I'm at the flipping wheel, not Ole. I'm at the wheel. Mosa. Okay.
Ole out.
Ole out. Okay. All right. But like I said, gents, we've got, before we kick off with the other stuff, we've got 1 day to go for the Premier League. We do have our fantasy league up and running. You're going to see the code 1 days. Forgive the thing. It says 1 days. So join our league code. We're going to have a giveaway for the guys that do win. So that's going to be quite cool coming down the line. Settle's working on the giveaway as we speak.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Sorry. But just do that and you'll see. Just enter the fantasy league and make sure that you're number 1. And then we'll reveal the prize soon, very soon.
Yeah. But based on that, guys, Matt decided he was going to put a little structure for us for our show today because it is the kickoff of the new season. We're going to go through some basic questions, and you're going to see some pretty pictures of some of the lads. Who knew they could model, but you'll find out soon enough whether or not they model successfully. So the first thing we're going to do is the big question. The big question before any Premier League season.
Wait,
Who's
sorry,
gonna win the league?
Claudio, sorry. Is Wonga on this call? I haven't on this chat. I haven't even heard him speak. Wonga, is he quiet there in the corner? I think he just doesn't want us to ask about Arsenal.
Man.
He's keeping quiet. because
Yeah, he's trying to hide.
tomorrow we're starting off the season with a relegation battle.
It begins tomorrow, boy.
Sorry,
Hey, it's
Claudio.
rough, bro. It's rough, bro. It's rough.
Carry on, Claudio. Sorry, I interrupted rudely. I
It's
just
all
needed
good.
to
It's
say.
all good. I was going to say we're going to kick off with who's going to win the league, but I don't think that's as exciting. We might as well start off with who's going to get the sack, seeing as you opened your mouth there, Nick. We know Newcastle United, Steve Bruce need to, or hoping at least Steve Bruce gets the sack. So we're going to start off with the first guy. I'm going to share the screen here. And then the guys, what we're going to do is we're going to show the people. We're doing something different. You let us know if you're going to enjoy this. If you don't enjoy it, we just can it immediately. But our first man, it's funny that you mentioned that, Nick. Our first man over here, Wonga Denga, the first sacking of the season. Wonga, do you want to elaborate as to why you think King Kai Bruce will get the sack?
The chat's up.
No, I mean, look, listening. I don't follow much on what happens there, but I mean, listening to Nick last season, and actually looking at the situation there. I mean, I think we were well informed by Nick and what was happening there, and I think even looking at some of the fans as well, and just the way no one is pleased with the way he's running the club. I don't even think the players themselves are happy with what's going on there, you know. And last season they did they did miss it, and I just thought now, I mean, they just missed the relegation, and I thought now, looking at this, I think this deal that they're trying to, this way they're trying to sell, the club. I think if they get relegated, it does, I don't think it makes that thing that attractive, and I think maybe then. I don't know how much they like Steve Bruce there, but I think maybe then it'll probably force their hand to change things, because Newcastle is they don't have bad players. They don't have bad players at all, and I think if they can change that, and I agree with Nick. I think everyone agrees with Nick on this, that they can do. They shouldn't be fighting relegation, to be honest, with those players.
Nick, do you want to jump on this? I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, as a fan, you don't want to be saying your own manager, but I think you're pretty happy with Wonga's assessment, no?
No, I would love it to happen, but unfortunately, it's not going to happen as long as Ashley's there. He's the cheap option. He's a puppet for the owner, and he's unfortunately in a position, fortunately for himself and unfortunately for us, in a position where his job is secure. He just has to keep the team in the league, and he seems to be doing okay at that. Gives us a bit of a hard time and a scare along the journey and along the ride throughout the season, but I just don't see it happening until we do get some sort of new ownership. However, if we are in a really sticky situation come December, January, February, he hasn't proved it, Ashley, but he might want to then sell, simply because if we do get relegated, we won't be as appealing to a prospective owner, so a prospective new owner. So it could potentially happen, but if it does happen, it will be a last minute sort of situation, where he's sacked managers in the past is normally February, March. That's the sort of period I think Shearer got from April on, after we were in that mess. So unfortunately, I don't see it happening. We've got an owner who is not interested at all. We're struggling to get a player in the form of Willock over the line because we can't agree personal terms.
Yeah.
And that just shows you
the money.
What do you think those personal terms are? Is it just money, or is it him saying, I want number 10 jersey, I want to be guaranteed 25 games?
I think it's him saying, I'd rather go to a different team if Newcastle aren't the only bidder.
No, that would be sort of ironic, but in the sense of I think he sort of sees himself as a potential Champions League player in the future. He wants a clause in there where if a Champions League club comes, he should be sold. If we want to sign him for 6 years, he only wants 4 years. So he's just looking at this as a stepping stone. And then from what I understand is I think the wages are slightly higher than what we thought initially. And I think to pay the wages that he wants for a 21-year-old isn't in the model.
That's so hilarious. We kind of thought we'd get this like on a lot cheaper
on a 30,000 pounds a week. He wants double.
Yeah, so I'm glad you changed it, because
that's my first sacking, man. That's my first sacking, guys.
I'm glad you changed it there, Claudio, because you spelled Newcastle wrong. I don't know if you did it on purpose or you were just trying.
I only give special teams a lot of attention. Before you give your take on this, I do want to comment. I'm on giving two good shots here, saying Rafa at Everton, and then also who is the other one? Hassan Hutel.
Yeah,
at Southampton. I don't know what you guys think about those two options.
Hassan Hutel was a massive disappointment last season.
Yeah, he can be one of the guys to get fired first, but I like him. I like him as a manager.
I think he's got a good chance. I think he's got a good chance if the season doesn't start well. I think, Rafa's, obviously I'm a big supporter of him, but I think he's very underrated. And I think if he gets support, he'll do well with the team. I think it's just going to go onwards and upwards for them. And I see Everton not challenging, but I see them, having a better season than they had last season.
Cool. All right, Settle. Well, tell us why you think this man's going to be the first sacking of the season.
Hey, man. First and foremost, I didn't even know he was the manager of Watford. I picked Watford Watford manager lost a year in the job. No
Yeah.
Watford manager get lost a year, guys. These guys have had probably like 5 managers in 5 years, guys. They've had one season in the Premier League where I think they had 3 managers in one season in the Premier League. These guys aren't scared to fire. Those Italian owners of theirs, they just fire, guys. They just fire. They just hire and fire. You know what I mean? So I don't know if Sir Alton John needs
Yeah.
to get involved there, because obviously he's a Watford fan and stuff. He needs to tell those guys, hey guys, this is not how you run the club. You know,
I don't know if you guys have read up
He's
on
not
there's an actual model that they follow. I don't know if you guys are aware that the sort of owners in the last couple of years have followed, where there hasn't been security for managers, not necessarily because they're firing them on the basis of their performance. But I mean, I think a couple of seasons ago, Watford survived and they had quite a good season based on sort of where they should be in comparison to where they finished. And they got rid of the manager at the time. I can't recall who it was, but I read an article. I read an article. I think back then is that their sort of model was based on a manager being there for no longer than 2 seasons at most. To sort of keep
is that because
fresh.
they are going to Elton John's concerts every couple of months?
Possibly.
Or something?
They probably are, guys. No, but guys, like it's bad. It's bad, guys. Like you can't survive at Watford, and I feel bad for this guy because obviously he's taken on the job and so on. But yeah, let's see. Hopefully he can do the job, but no manager survives at that club, guys.
Yeah, Nick said the same thing as well.
Exactly the same thing. So you guys are definitely on the same wavelength here.
Yeah. No, I don't see it happening, to be fair. Like, if they do start poorly, they're going to need to make a change. I mean, Watford's become a sort of a yo-yo club in the last couple of years, similar to sort of a Fulham. And they almost need to survive the first year back and see where they can build from there. But unfortunately, looking at their squad, in comparison to, say, probably a Brentford or a Norwich, I do see them sort of struggling, and he might be the man walking the plank, unfortunately, for the club.
Yeah, man, it's ridiculous, guys. It's ridiculous. I'm trying to actually find out how many managers they've had in the last couple of years, and yeah, man, it's not pretty, guys. It's not pretty at all. You know what I mean? If you think about it, Garcia was sacked and replaced by Kike Sanchez Flores. Kike Sanchez Flores was fired, and then came in Nigel Pearson. Nigel Pearson was the guy who took them down. Guys, no ways, guys. It's ridiculous. No.
Yeah, it's turbulence. A lot of turbulence there from Watford's side. What's quite interesting, though, is we got Darren on the line, guys. That's very interesting because no one said anything about Bielsa and Leeds. Everyone's confident they're going to have another good season.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Yeah, they're going to be buzzing.
Ole
out! We can't forget He's managed to kind of slip under the radar, and nobody's giving him too much attention. And it's so easy to forget where he's put the club, like the tough times that the club have experienced under his stewardship. And I think if they do have a really bad start to the season, that's going to come to the fore, and a lot more pressure will be coming to him as a manager with these United teams. So, Ole out again. We start the season off. Ole out.
Listen, I agree with Musa. Like, I don't think Man United as a club and as an institution, if you want to say, deserve the caliber of manager in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Unfortunately, I do think he still needs a lot to learn and develop and experience.
Yeah.
But he was my second pick, but didn't he sign a 3-year contract recently, a 3-year extension?
Yeah.
They left to revoke.
That's why they have to terminate early. But I thought just because of that, and maybe Varane might save them if he gets over the line, and Sancho with a little bit of price.
Yeah, but if the opposite happens, where Varane, Sancho don't click in, and a few performances go the other way, I think it'll be worth pulling the trigger, given the signings they've made.
Don't worry, man. We didn't sign 7 players and fuck up the team like they did with Lampard.
You'll see,
Yeah.
Chief. You'll see, Chief.
So Mosler, just going back
It's
to this
early.
sacking. Just going back to this. Is this going to be an early sacking or a late sacking?
Early sacking. If it follows the Lampard story, I wouldn't be surprised. Where you do make a couple of signings, you do have a little bit of faith, and then the confidence weans a lot more in the manager, which is already. I think Man United fans forget how much confidence they have lost in this manager, and potentially it will remind them having football coming back week to week. After a couple of weeks, 8 weeks to 10 weeks, if the performances aren't coming right, Ole out is going to be the chant that all of the Man United fans are going to be screaming.
And what's interesting is the fans are going to be able to tell him how they feel. So he's
Yeah,
going to be under a little bit
the
of pressure.
stadium, yeah, definitely.
And I think personally, what I think the marker will be for him is to get out of the group stages in the Champions League. I think by the end of November, if that's not complete, I think he might be walking on a tight rope, because I think there was calls back then when they botched up that whole scenario and not getting out the group. I think there was big talk of him. Like, should he go? Should he not go?
Yeah.
I
Yes.
personally think he should have gone then. But if he does it again 2 seasons in a row, I don't know. I wouldn't want him.
Yeah,
The
no,
question
true,
I
true.
ask you is, all of your teams, would any of you have Solskjaer as your manager?
Hell no.
No.
As your manager,
no,
yes.
No.
Nah.
Yeah, well,
Listen,
we'll make a difference.
No,
to
you
me,
say
so.
when you measure it against Steve Bruce, I think I could do a better job than Steve Bruce. So yeah, I would take Solskjaer.
Yeah, but let's be honest. I think you'd be the savior.
Why are you
in the
picking
team.
Vieira here, man? Come on, man.
So
Come on, Matt. The legend himself.
So here's the thing. I don't think.
Former Arsenal captain.
No. It's not even that. It's not even that. I actually think that Vieira's the kind of guy who could be a really good manager, but I think Crystal Palace is the wrong project for him. They've got a lot of expectation at Palace. They really do think they're going to do well this season, but I don't think they have a strong enough squad to really push on. And I think they have the potential to have a couple of really bad results early on. He also plays a much more attacking game than Palace played last season. Last season, Palace were very pragmatic, very tight at the back, quick on the counter, and that's how they kind of got their points. And it was stodgy, and it was a little bit. I know a lot of Crystal Palace fans weren't happy, and they've been really excited to see that Vieira comes in playing a more attacking game. But I'm not sure that they've got the squad to pull that off over the course of a whole season. I think we could see them get some really early bad results. And I think he could end up falling victim to that. Not because I think he's a bad coach at all. I'm just looking at I'm playing the odds. Like, I also think Ole might go out this season, but it's not going to be early. Same with Bruce. Bruce might go out this season. He's not going to be first. It'll be late on in the day if they're facing relegation. I think Vieira could fall victim to a series of bad results for Palace. The expectation that's sitting there, the fact that he's playing a more attacking game that's going to open them up at the back and they're going to concede a lot of goals, and he could go down because of that. It'll be unfair because I don't think he's a bad manager. I think, you look at, it's very early in his career. It's very hard to judge him. But you look at the way he has tried to tackle the Palace squad, the way he's tried to make them more aggressive. He's lined them up in a more attacking way. There's been some very clever signings, which obviously he's not completely responsible for. But he's done some very positive steps there. But I think he's going to fall victim to circumstance. I do see him going first. I could be proven wrong. This thing is a hard game to guess. But I do think he's going to be, I reckon he could be the first out.
It's very
Matt,
similar to Frank
I'm
de
surprised you
Boer.
didn't say Arteta.
No, you see, Arsenal, they just love to
player.
punish their fans too much. They're going to drag him along until right at if they were going to get rid, they would have done it last season.
If
Yeah,
Arsenal
that's
are
true.
13th, they're fine.
Yeah,
So he's safe.
They'll next season they're going to be saying Arteta's the one to bring them back post relegation. He's going to win the championship.
No way. He's meant to win the Champions League in the next year or something, isn't he?
Yeah, isn't that
he
the
is.
plan? If
Yeah,
he
it's got
gets
2
to
more
win this
years.
year, he's failed in his 3-year plan.
We've got 2 more years left, yeah.
I can only believe the position Wanga's in, actually still believing that those 2 years are going to count for something.
Claudio also said, these guys.
Vieira.
Man.
You
Yeah,
not think,
no.
Claudio, the Palace situation is very similar to Frank de Boer a couple of seasons ago when they
Exactly.
had him.
Yeah.
I don't think they got.
he didn't
I don't
last
think they
long.
got a win. I think he had lasted 8 games, and I think they had got like 1 point, or not even a point. I think they were on 0 points after 8 games, or something stupid. And they pulled the bullet.
Yeah, and I think thanks for mentioning that, because that is definitely one of the reasons behind why I said this. He's got to hit the ground running because we know at Crystal Palace they're not afraid to make big decisions very early on, hence the case of Frank de Boer. And that's pretty much the comparison at this moment in time in my mind, and that's the feeling I'm getting, largely because of the transfer activity. I mean, Matt's already touched on a lot of the stuff. I don't know if is my connection still working, you guys there? Because you seem to be frozen on my side.
We're
listening.
Loud and clear.
just enraptured by what you're saying.
Fantastic.
The wisdom you're dropping.
Oh, thank you, dude. Okay. All right. Seeing as that is the case, yeah. No, so that's pretty much mine in a nutshell. And I mean, I'm not going to go too deep. I think Matt covered most of it, and it was just coincidence. How I did this, by the way, for all the people listening, Matt wrote the questions. I submitted it to the guys. They sent it to me individually, separately. We all submitted our answers, and now this is pretty much the result, which is quite interesting. And you're going to see in the next question how similar some of us think. And I think we might as well move on because so it's interesting. So no Arteta, no Rafa Benitez, no one from Brentford. We're all sticking with these names and no one wants to change it right now. Yeah?
Yeah,
We're all
but
happy.
listen, Norwich doesn't fire. Norwich, they'll go down with the manager. He'll bring them back up. Go down with him, bring him back up. Norwich won't fire him, no matter what.
I think personally, Hussein Haltel, if he has another 9-0 and 8-0, 10 goals, I think he might be on a tightrope then, because he gets pumped.
But my
at
thing with
least once
Hussein
a
Haltel
season.
though is they're selling their centre half to Leicester.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mr.
that's when I
Vestergaard,
saw that.
Vestergaard.
When I saw
Vestergaard,
that, that's
yeah.
why I don't think they're going to have a great season at all. Losing Danny Ings and him.
No, but then they can't really be looking to the manager to sack. Clearly, that's above board where they're just going, we're
Yeah.
making the decisions. We just need someone to be there, be in the driving seat, personally speaking. That's what I'm thinking. Right. But now it's the big one, the top 4 prediction. And who do we think is going to win the league? Wonga Denga, take us through your predictions here. You've been quiet. You put your head down when it's not your turn for some reason. You're allowed to get involved.
No, look, there's not much yes with my team. But anyways, I said Man City, and I based Man City based on because they are. It seems like they're very persistent with this Harry Kane signing, and they're pushing, and it's probably something that'll probably go to deadline day. And if they get him, everyone must just forget about it. Just fight for second, third, and fourth. That's we've saw it with Robin van Persie. He had a good season before. And all that matters was him to just stay fit, and he stayed fit, and he banged in the goals. Man United won the league, and I think Man City. And I said it before, if Man City get him, Harry Kane's on form. He showed it season in, season out, and he's also got assists with him as well. And now they've also got Grealish on the side as well. He's also a good playmaker. I can't see any team surviving that if those guys manage to stay fit.
You and Jason Turgle are breaking my heart, man. Chelsea third. Are you guys smoking some pipe or what that we don't know about? Come on,
Look, I
man.
think
It's just facts.
yeah, it's facts.
Come
it's
on,
facts.
man.
I don't understand, Mosa. How can you say on the one hand Lukaku's a terrible signing, and on the other hand Chelsea are going to win the league? Both those things can't be true.
That
We
can't
still
be
have,
true.
we
I was
still have,
thinking exactly
we
the
still
same
have, we still have players like Werner. The reason why I find Lukaku. The boy's flying. He's gonna be a second season wonder.
What are you
Werner,
smoking?
This is Lukaku.
Second season wonder, boy.
Werner, Lukaku. Werner, Lukaku. That's the difference
Not a
between the
chance,
two players.
gentlemen.
Not
Fuck's
here,
sakes.
not like this. Not like it's not even close. It's like this. Lukaku is a top 10 striker in the world. Werner is outside the top 50.
Fuck six. You know what
But we
Lukaku
did
does
this.
for a team, and in terms of its style of play
Hey,
and
guys,
stuff, he really is
Wonga's
a
trying to
trampoline,
tell us
bro.
why Arsenal aren't going to win the league.
Okay.
Let's let him let him
Sure,
in.
sure. Not even the top
nice
four.
one, Matt.
Really, you should have just done a top 10, Claudio, for Wonga.
I wanted to make top 6, but even I thought top 6 is still reaching. I don't know if that's
Yeah, I think, well, Man United, I think they have a strong team. I think I'm just going to base it on Ole's experience. I did feel Man United when they won games. For me, that was quite convincing. And they've strengthened up their squad heavily. I think Varane's going to be a big thing in that defense. Again, we've seen with other teams, Liverpool had a poor defense. They strengthened that defense, and they were pretty much unbreakable. And going on that point, I'll go to Liverpool now. I think I saw the other day, I just saw a couple of highlights of Van Dijk playing. It looks like he's still got a long way to go until he's back on form. You know, I mean, the guy had a horrible injury.
You see, more people have Chelsea at number 3. Come on.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to
there you
prove-
go.
we're gonna have to prove
Thank you,
everybody
Mandla.
wrong.
Thank you,
We're gonna have
Mandla.
to
There
prove
you go.
everybody wrong.
Thank you for joining us, but also Liverpool coming out
and
against
Manchester-
Leicester. Yeah.
Manchester's an Arsenal fan. Manchester's an Arsenal fan. So
See,
it's not
Mandla's
biased.
thinking exactly like me.
I
Don't
think
think
it's
about
right.
Arsenal.
You know,
Yeah, you see, in many ways, that's fair. If you think about it, Arsenal fans are neutrals when it comes to the title chase and to top
100%.
4.
They're
They're
outside.
completely objective.
They're outside. They're outside.
Wiping their hands clean.
Yeah.
But you know what's interesting? Yeah,
Let's have no bias.
If your pinnacle of the season is third, you know, you might find Tuchel will be the first one sacked. You know, Brandon
Yeah.
doesn't waste time. Huh? You know,
Which
if
is
you
a
have
scary
a couple
thing.
of bad results, he'll say, "Hey, get out of
18
here."
months is coming, Chief. Your 18 months is close.
Yeah, man. So mine is literally a copy and paste of Wonga. Basically, what
No,
Wonga said,
man.
guys. Yeah,
You
copy
guys
and
are
paste of
breaking
what
my heart,
Wonga
man.
said. Literally.
Cheat sheet. They were looking at each
you
other's
know-
papers
you know,
when they wrote this down.
So I
And
said,
they don't how can
I
they
said
break
to
the
him-
Chelsea fans' heart?
I sent it to him via text, and I was like, "Hey, Wonga, man, what do you think about this?" He's like, "Hey, man, same thoughts."
This guy's
You know?
talking back like nothing to do.
Same thoughts exactly, you know what I mean? Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Ryan, easy, Ryan.
Whoa, Ryan!
Ryan, he smokes the
Nigga.
good shit. Ryan, whatever you want, you need to just give us everything you're on. Bro. Come on.
Yo,
I don't know, I
you're
don't-
right, our man.
Yo.
I don't know what's more surprising there. Spurs in first or City not even in top 4. City are not even there. Brian's
There
like, they
we
don't
go,
exist.
Kolwa. There we go, Kolwa. See, Kolwa's got the vision there.
so-
Go, Kolwa.
Musa, do you realize that the same amount of fans have said Spurs as Chelsea? Just so you know.
Colour's a Chelsea fan, I'm sure.
Follow the Chelsea fan, definitely. But yeah, guys, me, it's
100%.
football.
Someone want to break the news to Dia?
It's
Does someone
Dia.
want to break the news to Dia?
I mean,
Dia,
it's already
what's
happened.
Late, bro.
Dia, are you Dia, what team do you support? I forgot what team does Dia support.
I think
She
it was
supports
Newcastle.
England.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the
Yeah,
Premier
it's
League, it's
England.
never left.
but that's me. I feel definitely City. Oh man, I'm basing this on City with or without Kane. With Kane, man, you can even put a space in between number 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So just put a bit of a
Yeah.
space, you know, like number 1 and 2, yeah, whatever. There's a title challenge, hopefully, from all these top 4 teams. I want a challenge where last 3 games of the season, 3 teams are still in it. But if they get Kane, there's no chance of that.
And I'm sure you mean that the space would be Chelsea first and then City second with like a gap.
No,
Big gap.
I said if Harry Kane goes to City, there's no challenge. There's no challenge.
And also,
Hey,
I just have to check.
June! In the house!
You see, Kolo, I like you, Kolo. Yes, boy. Yes, you can see that Chelsea.
no
Chelsea's
ways.
looking strong, gentlemen. That squad is looking too powerful, my man.
Hey,
I
these are your people, the SLO. Those are your people. Yo,
Okay. Guys,
Ugh.
even
Fuck's
Nick has
sake,
me at number 2. Even Nick has me at number 2.
Nick,
Even
come on,
Nick-
man. Ole out, man.
Even Nick
Ole
has me at
out,
number
man.
2.
Ole out, man. Oh, fuck, man.
Oh, we've got Portico in the house. Yeah, he hasn't been with us for a long time. Let's give a little shout out to him. We've got Aljun, Arman, and all the regulars. Thank you very much for joining us. Also, now, Nick.
Banja, Jason, Carlo, Darren. No, I know.
You're gonna
Shout out.
Musa, you're going to your focus is now on the Club World Cup. You guys are gonna lose focus on
Oh,
the
yeah.
league and
you
slip down
forget.
to number 4.
Don't worry about our focus.
You
You've
got
got
big-
squad
you
depth,
got
man.
You've got bigger
We've got
fish to
depth.
fry.
Yeah, you're right.
Go beat Al
Fuck,
Ahly there in the Champions League.
Oh, man. Fuck sakes. Man United, yeah, right. No, man.
So everyone's
also-
thinking City's going to win the league, it looks like.
Yeah, but also, you know,
Except for
Liverpool
Musa,
as
more than
well.
likely.
Yeah, of course, except for me, Chip.
Guys, have you seen Liverpool haven't gotten to top 2 yet in any of our predictions, but let's continue. Maybe we'll get there with Claudio's.
Who's Porico? Who's Porico? Disrespectful, yeah.
That's what I was saying.
Who's Porco? This guy must put their first names there. What's going on here?
There we go,
Yeah.
gentlemen. You see it, gentlemen. You can see the truth. The truth.
If the league was rigged.
There we go, gentlemen. Chelsea all the way.
Oh, this
No,
guy.
I'm
It's
curious,
obvious. It's
Musa.
clear.
Musa, I'm curious.
Yeah.
You say that Lukaku's going to be a terrible signing, but you think they're going to win the
Yeah.
league again? To what Matt was saying, and now you think
Contradictory.
Werner's going to be a top goal scorer here, or what's going to happen? Who's going to
No,
score?
I just think
Mason Mount,
I
Havertz?
think Lukaku. I think in the team, I think Werner has capacity to score a lot of goals. We've got Kai Havertz coming to form. Ziyech situation's breaking my heart because
Werner.
over the past couple of games, he's been really, really showing.
Guys, Werner, guys,
Hey, man,
Werner.
Werner, he needed a season to
Don't let-
adjust, man. First season is a tough season,
That's
man.
an adjustment.
Guys,
The defenders are too big for him.
if Werner scored like 2 goals,
No, he's too quick
the
for
Euros.
himself.
if Werner scored 2 goals in the Euros, I'll say you're right. But Werner scored 0 goals. So I don't know what you're
Yeah.
It was a
Nah,
tough,
Tino
it was a tough
Werner's-
Euro. But like the reason why I think Lukaku is not the greatest of signing is just purely the amount of spend they've used on this guy, man. Like close to £100 million. To me, is very difficult to justify for a player that doesn't show the exquisiteness on the ball, doesn't show the intensity when he's near the goals, has so many mistakes within his play, doesn't link up play between strikers and midfielders very, very well.
He just
Dude,
wins.
this
talking about
guy-
the same
he
player.
just wins
We're not
titles.
talking about the
Talk
same
about the same
player.
player.
Ah, man,
Can
you
I
can't
just
tell
say-
me about a lad who's
All
We're
of
not talking
us
about his
say-
brother. We're
none
talking
of
about
us say-
Romelu
Ah,
Lukaku.
We're not talking about his brother.
because this guy hasn't like he's been consistently like poor, if you ask me, in terms of his
Ah.
career. It hasn't been a stellar
Ah,
career,
whoa,
and I'm
whoa.
saying
Listen,
that out
you pull
loud.
up these things.
Musa,
Whoa,
listen,
whoa, whoa, whoa.
24 goals in 36 Serie A games and 11 assists. That is 35 goal contributions in 36 games. What more do you want?
If you
Werner
think he's going to
would
carry
say-
that into the English
Werner
Premier League, I
dreams-
don't.
Werner dreams about those stats. Dreams about those stats every single day.
If you think he's going to carry that into the Premier League, I think it's going to be a big surprise for a lot of pundits who are
He
going to be
scored
tracking him closely.
He scored 25 goals in 37 games for Everton in his final season.
Yes.
Man
Yeah.
United, his best season, he scored 16-34.
He scores goals.
What?
Premier
He
League. He
scores
loves
goals.
the Premier League. He
Ah,
loves
fuck,
it.
bro, that heavy touch.
Probably only
No,
Harry,
no.
probably only
You'll
Harry
see.
Kane.
He's
Harry
going to be
Kane
foaming
and
by the
Sergio
mouth when
Aguero
he walks in there.
have scored more goals than him. Come on, man. I don't want
You'll
a
see.
rival
In a
player to
couple
do
of-
well. I never want a rival player
Yeah.
to do well, but I feel he will do well.
Guys,
I
can we
don't think
please
so,
can we
man.
make it a
That
goal
just
lounge
destroys
project
so
this
much
year?
in terms of the football.
I want to just see a montage of every goal Lukaku scores this season and Musa's face every time that goal goes in. Just like
Yeah,
a
and
goal.
Please
snap
make
to
a note
Musa.
of it.
Just
It's going to be 8 goals max.
So,
8 goals.
So Musa,
Hey.
I think
so
we
Musa-
you need to grow some hair so you can do a Wonga style bet on this.
So Musa,
Yes.
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 Call him out.
Yes.
Call him out.
So Musa,
Although
Nah,
Those
you can
people-
bald the head. You can still bald. You can
You're
still
saying
dye the
that-
skin. It's fine.
you're saying that Werner will score more goals.
Can
Yeah,
paint
and
your
I'm
head.
saying even in terms of appearances, Werner will probably get more appearances than Lukaku. In terms of what he
Huh?
contributes to the team and the style of play that the team will have, there'll be a lot more energy and pace. There'll be a lot more
No,
movement up
Musa.
front. Dude,
Musa,
Lukaku-
you are
Musa
killing the
saying-
viewers. The viewers
I
here
think-
are
I think it's
disagreeing.
important-
You're not agreeing. Yeah.
I think it's important
What?
that people watching realize that this prediction, this top 4 prediction, comes from the same man saying that Lukaku's only going to get 8 goals. So just take it with that pinch of salt.
Yeah. And I mean it, bro. This guy, I'm just not happy to have him at the club for that paycheck. I wish you would have went to any of your clubs for that kind of money, and I'm sure you guys would have been very happy to have him. But
look
I'm
what-
sure
what
he's going to have a very
Darren-
difficult first season
Aaron,
at Chelsea.
Coracle, Carlo, everyone is saying, "What are you smoking?" So are we watching the wrong football? I don't know, man. Maybe we're watching the wrong.
You're
No, I
going to
think
watch.
guys,
You're going to
you know
watch,
what it
gentlemen,
is?
in the
You
next
know what it
couple
is?
of games. Give it 10 games, and you'll
Let me
see.
sum it up. But let me sum it up for Musa. Musa's a Chelsea fan. Let's put context. He's a Chelsea fan. He likes shiny new things. And the problem here is buying a second-hand toy that he had previously. That's the problem. That's the issue.
No
here.
man, no man. I just, he's one of those those strikers, if he was given a point blank chance in front of goal, I'd still have
He scores.
a lot of insecurity. No,
But
you don't understand how many chances this guy
But
has
that's how
to
Drogba
score.
was. Drogba was also not a clean, a classy, simple finish. You know, he was
Nah,
not
bruh.
like an
But you can rely on
He was-
Drogba
he was-
a
he
lot of
was
the
a-
time in the
yes,
semi-finals or finals
yeah,
to get you
but-
through the game. Whereas
but
Lukaku, you
Belgium-
can't actually do that.
Who carries Belgium? Lukaku or De Bruyne? Please tell me who carries Belgium. Lukaku or De Bruyne?
Yeah, but
Lukaku
Belgium
every
are...
time.
Lukaku carries Belgium, not
But
De
carry
Bruyne.
them to what? Carry them to what?
No, he carries them into the tournament.
Carry them to
deeper
what?
Into the tournament. Who scores? Who
To
scores the goals?
semi-finals minimum, at least.
So,
or
guys,
max, in
I'm
their
I'm
case.
I'm I'm going to
Drogba
close
didn't even
the
score as
win
much as
thing,
Lukaku.
the Lukaku thing. I
What?
think
Can
the
we
thing
have a
I'm going to
Lukaku
put
show?
to bed. The thing with this Lukaku thing. Look at the Chelsea strikers that have done well in the last few seasons. They've been like a graveyard for strikers. Torres went there, didn't do well. Shevchenko went there, didn't do well. Loads. You can name so many strikers that have gone to Chelsea and not done well. The strikers that have done well there, Drogba and Da Costa, and they are Diego Costa. They are dirty strikers. They get there. They rough and you don't call them these
Yeah.
exquisite guys that Moss is talking about. They don't delicate touch.
Yeah.
They're not your Berbatov kind of player. They rough. They take they ram the defense down. They score big goals. They are big and they scary and they're imposing, and that's what works for Chelsea. And that's why Lukaku's going to bang them in for you guys.
Giroud was
Drogba,
giving
I'm
us
looking-
what Lukaku could have given us this season, and that's my biggest problem. You know, we're going to be offloading a lot of talent. We're going to be giving away a lot of
Lukaku has
talent to
played.
players who do the same thing.
I know it.
Why don't you-
Guys,
so,
look,
Lukaku
guys,
has
did
no
it-
control,
Give
bro.
us
The
Sammy.
pace is.
Okay, no, let's go,
Just-
guys. Let's go to Matt. Let's go to Matt, guys.
Wait.
because
Before
Lukaku
Matt
thing
goes,
is gonna
I
end
just
up-
want
Matt.
Wonga to finish off what he was saying there, and then Matt will kick into this because we all know. I think everyone watching and everyone listening here, we just know that Moss is sour because he's seen him in a blue shirt before, and he didn't feel he got his value for money, and now he's paying over the odds for a play he didn't like before. That's what it is. It's a
Maybe
personal
4
grudge
times
against
more.
it. You
No,
see 4
I
times
think-
more. Wonga, what do you want to say?
I mean, you look at it. Even Didier Drogba in his powers. I'm just looking at the stuff now. There's only one season where he scored more than 20 goals, and that was 29 and 29. The others has got 10, 12, 15, 8, 12, 5. Those are numbers I'm reading you, and he's still doing that.
Even
He
his
still
first
did
season
that
at
when he
Chelsea
played
was
in-
tough.
I'm just telling you, he won the league. He's winning leagues with 5, 10 goals. Lukaku
Yeah.
will give you definitely 12, 15.
Lukaku has scored more Premier League goals than Drogba in fewer games.
I think we should
Has
put
to,
some
yeah.
kind of like a bet to measure this.
Yeah,
Not a
I think
bet.
we should.
We discussed it. So
I think we should have
just
a
for our
bet to
viewers,
measure
hang on,
this.
Motsa.
I'll dye my
Yeah,
face
hang on.
also.
Yeah, hang on.
I have nothing else to dye here.
So Wonga has agreed.
Dye my hair.
Wonga has agreed. Just so everyone is listening, so we've got witnesses. Wonga has agreed that if Spurs beat Arsenal this season, he's going to bleach his hair. That's what he's doing. I don't know, any suggestions from the panel
Wow.
here in terms of what Mossa should do if Lukaku gets over 20 goals this season? What should he do?
20.
A Mike
20
Tyson
and
face
over.
tat.
Yeah, so what you do?
Or a
Thanks, guys,
tattoo of
what the
Lukaku.
hell? Easy.
Guys, listen to this. Mossa,
No
are you
chance,
listening?
bruh.
Mossa, are you listening there? Lukaku has played 252 games in the Premier League, 113 goals, right? Drogba's played 254, 2 games more, right? But he's got 104. So look, Drogba scored 10 fewer goals in two more games. Come on, man. Put some respect on Lukaku's name.
Yes.
Okay, wait, sorry.
There's no respect. They have no respect for Lukaku's name,
Based on what
especially
Darren
not for
said,
the equivalent of money we spend on him.
I think this is fair. If Lukaku scores over 8 goals this season, because that's what you're quoting, and that's what
Let's
Darren
go
said.
20. Let's go 20. No, 8 was
I
just
said
to be
8.
dramatic.
20.
No.
Ah, come on.
Let's go 20, guys. You guys.
15. I say 15.
It's a
15.
97 million pound signing, guys. It's not like a 50
Okay,
million.
fine,
Half his
20.
price would allow 80.
No, I think 20 is fair.
Okay,
I think
20.
If he makes
Okay.
over 20,
Yeah.
if he makes over
No,
20,
not
what's
over.
a fair thing?
20 plus. 20
20
20
plus.
plus,
From
yeah.
20 onwards.
Yeah.
What's a
And
fair
that's
thing
the
for Mossa to do?
all competitions, league and cup.
Yeah.
Ah,
In the
no,
comments,
come
if you
on,
guys
that's
want to
a bit-
suggest
that's a bit
anything,
too much.
we'll think about it. We'll come back to this at the end of the show. And we'll all think of something.
Be
If you guys give
brave,
us something-
suggest. People suggest, but
I
not
said
tattoo.
tattoo.
Yes.
I said
Yes.
tattoo.
Arjun is right there. Arjun is right there. Mossa,
What's that you say?
Lukaku is my
Lukaku.
number 9 Chelsea jersey.
Or even better, make him get a Lukaku is my number 9 Arsenal shirt and wear it out for 3 days.
Okay, no, I'll get a number 9 Chelsea jersey which has Lukaku on it if he scores more than
but if
20 this season.
No, but then if he doesn't, Musa has the benefit here as well. So,
Yes.
so
No,
we
yes.
got vocal, so maybe
no.
an
Yeah,
all out,
say it.
all out.
You must make
Ole
your hair
out.
pink.
shirt.
Pink.
Ole out,
out,
shirt.
Pink hair. I
Yes.
say grow your hair.
Ole
You
out.
make your hair pink.
And you,
That's what you do.
Wanga, Ateta out.
Nah, we'll buy him. We'll buy him a gift. We'll buy him a jersey. We'll buy him a jersey of his choice, and print it with the number that he wants and name that he wants.
Who's that?
No, that sounds too good for him. I think he must bleach his hair pink and Mwanga makes
I'm
it
saying
yellow. I think that's fair.
If he wins the bet, we buy him a jersey with the number and name of his choice.
No, he's not going to
Guys,
get satisfaction out of that. He wants
About
to see
a jersey
us
I
suffer.
wanted with the yes, I want suffering, not not good times, lovey-dovey. Are you gonna send me flowers later?
No problem.
Let Matt continue. Top 4. Take over there, Matt.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think everybody copied my homework on this one. I don't judge you guys for it. I'm obviously a very smart guy. But yeah, I think it's going to be a very tight top 3 race. I think City, United, and Chelsea are going to push the other teams far away. I don't think anybody's going to come close to them. I do see the 3 of them kind of running away with it a bit. And in the battle for 4th, I think Chelsea are just going to edge out. I think Liverpool are going to suffer because of losing players to AFCON this season. I don't think they've quite recovered completely from last season. So I think Liverpool will get top 4, but I don't think they're going to go all the way. I do think the top 3 are going to be, there's going to be a bit of a gap on the rest of us from them.
So you guys are honestly like very optimistic about United's performance. So you think they're gonna
well, at least
be
they
as
like
good
their
as
strikers,
last
bro.
season?
You know, like
For now,
We've got the players.
for now.
They need to support our strikers, man.
I don't even think it's optimistic because of what they have, to be honest.
yeah, that squad is solid. They got some serious players there.
My biggest thing is just the manager there.
Yeah, no, true. There's question marks on the manager, but yeah.
Yeah.
First
time- to that point.
Liverpool.
Yeah. What's going on here? Hey,
First time we see Liverpool.
how did Liverpool jump?
You see, because the rest of us forgot about their 12th man, guys.
Consistency.
Bias.
Consistency. Chelsea at number 3. Consistent. Chelsea number 3 again.
Come
You
on,
can
guys.
change
Yo,
the
you
song.
can put that United forward.
We can't have this carry on the whole season, man.
Why is this funny? I don't understand why this is funny. You said Chelsea were going to win the league. I'm saying Liverpool going to finish 2nd. The man's laughing like a drain. Can somebody
Yo,
explain
that's
that?
hectic. Liverpool second? No,
That's reaching.
Uh,
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Reaching. Let me tell you why it's not reaching. It's actually pretty comfortable. If anything, they're going to push City. And let me tell you why. We've got 2 new signings in the shape and form of Van Dijk. You don't understand how massive that miss has been. Huge miss. You don't understand. It's like getting a
tired.
new player. I know we only
You're going to be broken-hearted.
Nah. Also, guys,
I thought it would take longer. I thought it would take longer for someone to say it's like a new signing about someone, but for it to happen on the first show, the preseason prediction show about Van Dijk, it's been done. It's been dropped. He's like a new signing now.
Hey, Gomez, it's 2 players.
ACL and ACL, guys.
Yeah, you're not
Guys,
going to
he's
get
not the
2019 Van Dijk back. You're going to get a battle-weary, 1,000-yard stare shell of a man back from this.
I think you guys are missing the point as to what Van Dijk. I know, like, athletically is fantastic. Look, even if he's not the same player as he was coming back into it, his presence on the field is a huge lift for all of them. His communication, it's all a huge lift, and that's going to be the difference. And I'm telling you now, Mosa, this Man United thing at 4th place there, if Ole's getting the sack, that's going to happen there. Chelsea, Thomas Tuchel, we got Lukaku's going to score goals, but Thomas Tuchel, like you guys mentioned already, they're going to be distracted with the Club World Cup. And Liverpool, it's theirs. They're going to be playing the same team. They're going to be playing the same team.
check out Jude also crying. Yeah, it's true.
Crying, bro.
You know Liverpool second.
What are you saying about Van Dijk?
Look at that.
Oh, man.
Look at that. Even Ahmad, the most realistic guy we have as a comment.
That's like the most diplomatic way to put it.
Can I
Yeah.
ask something quickly? Is there any way we can talk about the teams like 6th and below? That would be quite fun.
Oh, look at Ryan. Shame, eh? Ryan.
Oh, you're
How's it,
trying to
Ryan?
feature. Nick, you're trying to feature
Sorry, Ryan.
Newcastle there.
Sorry,
Get to
Ryan.
give Arsenal some
No.
airtime.
At least
No,
half
it's not
of
for
us.
Newcastle to feature.
At least
It's
no.
not
At least half of us in this chat is sixth place and below. Let's be fair. So we're the average punters.
That's
I'm just
harsh
a
on
very
Chelsea. I
average
think
punter.
they're better than that.
So, what place do you think your team is going to finish, Nick?
At best, probably 14th.
But last season you
Not
finished
bad.
13th, right?
Yeah, 13th, 14th. If we sack him and get someone, if we keep our assistant, we maybe finish top 10. I'd say.
But I mean, this is a good time to be talking about your team because everyone here, we're going to start off with Wonga. Who will get relegated this season? You've got your picks. So, Wonga, Denga, let's hear the 3 teams that you're saying are going to go down. Also, guys, Pums isn't here. Nick, you must phone Pums. What's going on here? The man misses the most important show of the season so
The
far.
biggest show of the season.
You know what's happening? The man's on school. He works at a school. He's a sports coordinator at a school in Joburg. So they're on school holidays. So I bet you he's away or he's at a pub having a beer.
Oh,
More
yeah,
than
he
likely.
probably watches
No-
us when he's
no
at
Pums.
school.
Yeah.
All right. Wonga, Denga, who's going to get relegated? Who are your 3?
The 3 I said was, I think I said Newcastle.
Hey,
I said
Thanks,
Burnley, and I said Wolves. I think that's the phone number I said.
But
But
no
yeah,
love for your team, Nick.
I looked at the team. To be honest with you, even the guys that are coming up, they finished quite well in the previous seasons. There's not always a parameter to say that they'll stay. You see, but I think
Wonga, I hate to break this to you. I think the teams that normally get promoted finish quite well in their respective leagues to come to the Premier League. I think
That's how it works.
Yeah.
They don't just pick them out of 8. Like, you have a go, mate. You know.
no. I'm saying the ones who, obviously the ones who, if you come up, it's not guaranteed you're gonna just because you did well last season, you're gonna stay in the league above. But I looked at the teams coming up, and I think like even Brentford, Norwich as well. I think they'll probably stay. So it looks like probably just based on what they did, I think they'll probably stay. So other teams have to go. But the one I'm confident about, or I'd say is number 1, I would say is it is Newcastle. Sorry, Nick.
I don't even think you were prepared for that. I think you were just trying to find a name, and then you were like, "Oh, okay,
No,
Newcastle."
shit.
Yeah.
He was finding the hard to say it.
Still fun,
That's crazy, man.
All right, Nick. Well, you might as well tell us what you think following the Newcastle relegation. There, what do you
I
think?
don't think we'll get really like if we can keep our strongest team on the field. I think we've got a good chance, even though we are limited in the sort of coaching department. But saying that, I do think Burnley's time in the Premier League is up. It should have been up a long time ago. I think Southampton losing Danny Ings and potentially their centre half Vestergaard, I think that's going to be
Cheeky
a for them. Hey, at least with Arsenal and Spurs getting relegated there, Matty, you still get your derby every season, just in another league.
Yeah, if we finish 17th, as long as Arsenal are 18th or below, I'm alright.
Even Dear thinks Arsenal's going to get relegated.
So yeah, I think Burnley, Southampton, and then I think the weakest of the bunch coming up is Watford. And I do see them struggling and potentially sacking their manager, and that generally doesn't end well unless you get like a Nigel Pearson in to come and save them. Coming back to Watford, generally the sackings don't really help. So yeah, I think it's unfortunate with Southampton because they were building a nice little project sort of the last 2 seasons. And it just looks like I don't know if they are replacing these players, but these are 2 key players within the spine of their club, spine of their team. And Burnley will go down with a fight, but I do think their time's up. I hope their time's up. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are rooting for that.
A lot of us
Burnley
guys.
shot. Yeah.
time. Guys.
Silo, follow. Who do you think are the three? Who do you think?
Guys, Burnley first and foremost, guys. They need to go down. That's a prayer, guys. We need to all collude, make sure our teams beat them home and away. That's at least 12 games that they've lost. You know what I mean? At
So
least
it's
we can
safe
just
to
push them.
safe to say we'll never have a Burnley fan on this show. Then if we all
Hey.
do that.
We don't want to
Everybody's taking a dig at them.
that is one team in the Premier League, guys, that just deserves to go, guys. It's got nothing. There's no flair. There's no player that excites you. The manager doesn't have excite you. It's just their fan base as well. Nothing is exciting about the team, guys. They're not even I don't like Burnley as well because Burnley's also not a diverse team, man. They just have players.
They're not.
They only have players from the UK. They got no players from outside the UK. It's like, guys, what are you trying to do? You know what I mean?
Actually, you know who they should. You know who Newcastle need to get as manager? Sean Dyche, 100%. That's the sort of blueprint. That's not
guy-
diverse. Let's eat the pies. He eats the better pies. He eats the gourmet pies versus the Steve Bruce pies.
I just wonder if in his contract he negotiates a packet of halls every week because of his very, very coarse voice. He just sounds like he's so he needs to get a couple of throat lozenges in there.
All right.
And
So
then-
you
and
said
then Norwich-
Burnley. Who are the other two?
Norwich. Guys, I just feel Norwich is one of those teams that just go up and down. Man, they win the championship. They would like the last time they won it, and then they went back down. Now they've won it again, and I feel that they'll go back down again. It's just something about them, guys. It doesn't.
But this is why I
doesn't
think they're going to
translate.
stay up, man. Because they've got the same manager. They've got some players. They've got Billy Gilmore, Mossa's player there. So I think they will learn from their last experience because they've kept a lot of the core together, in my opinion. I don't know what you like. I know Settle's saying no.
That core took them
Strength
down.
versus strength. Yeah. Strength versus strength versus,
They're hardening up.
versus Newcastle on the weekend. I think they're starting what looks like their starting team for the weekend versus ours. We gave them 3. And if you want to call us a relegation candidate, that's not a good sign for Norwich. Looking into preseason games is sometimes a little bit of murky water. But if that's anything to go by, you would think that maybe they would struggle. I don't think they're going to fly. They're not going to be Leeds and make top 10 or top 12.
I don't see it happening. Yeah.
I do see them potentially staying up, possibly.
Mossa, you want to tell us your bottom 3 there? I know. Look,
So I realized that I missed this question in the survey. Unfortunately, sorry about that. But yeah, man, I didn't read
someone
the
is not
finer
diligent.
detail.
He's
But I
clearly not
think it's
looking at the stats. When you guys were giving him
It's
Lukaku
better.
stats, he's like, "What stats?" That's anyway. Yeah, sorry.
I was just fucking hurt by that guy. Don't bring that guy up, please. He's breaking my heart, man. Every time you mention that name, the name that cannot be mentioned from now on, please.
Okay.
Well
So
done.
he's got 20 goals and you got to get a tattoo and bleach your hair. Okay, right.
Yeah,
bottom
then he
3.
can be mentioned. It's tricky, man. I don't want to offend any people on the show, but the lads up in the north, I don't think they have a very good chance. You know why, bro? Like, the comfort that you guys have with Steve Bruce is actually scary. And if you guys are going to expect him to stay at the club or just continue to be a mid-table team, he might slip into that relegation battle quite quickly and not realize that the pot is getting really, really hot, right? Like that frog stuck in a pot type of dynamic. You guys did that last season and you came out, fortunately, but there might be an occasion.
But I told you guys this. So now you're listening to me. Now you're listening to me.
Yes,
That,
now I'm listening to you.
We're listening to you.
last year you laughed at me. You thought I was a joke.
I apologize, Nick. I believe you now.
So the lads might be taking it easy while the pot is boiling, and I think that could be something that hurts their chances quite significantly this season.
So we're gone.
Matinho,
Unfortunately, Chief, I'm sorry. At least you'll get Steve Bruce out.
Finally.
One way or another, champ.
But he might not be at the club. He might just be at the Premier League.
Yeah.
He'd still be the manager.
You'll still be there.
We can come back into the Premier League.
Oh, man.
right, Matinho, give us your 3 there.
So by 3, I said Norwich because I think, like Silla, I just think they're a yo-yo club. I think they come up, they're going to play some interesting football. I think they're going to be 1 or 2 interesting results. But like other clubs like them before, like sort of Wigan and Hull and stuff, they're just going to go have a couple of fun games and then they're going to go straight back down. I also said Burnley. I think it's just time. They're like the fruitcake at the buffet table. Like no one wants it. It's just always there. Like, no one's taking a bite. Like no one wants that. And their results have been getting progressively worse. They were a mid-table club last season. They were really just a little bit above the relegation scrap. I think this is the season they finally get found out because they also haven't done much by the way of reinforcements. They still play the same football Daesh has always played. I can see them going down. And the last one, I actually tipped Palace for my last one. And
Palace.
I think they could really struggle. I think because they're coming in, they're playing very attacking football preseason. They've really completely undone the pragmatism that was there. And then I think the challenge for them is going to be I think they're going to start off really poorly. They're going to have to try and mix it up, and depending who they bring in, they're really going to struggle. I could see Palace going down this season.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, I might as well follow on that. My 2 teams, based on similar to Matt, with Burnley and Crystal Palace. And then obviously you guys have touched on the yo-yo team, Watford, because we all said here that manager's probably going to get sacked. They're yo-yo side already. But the Burnley fact, I think, because he recruits in the pubs that he drinks from, Sean Dyche, I think that's the issue.
All you got to do, you just go doing some keepy uppies and he'll give you a contract.
That's why he doesn't have diversity in his team, guys. He just goes down the road and finds his players.
Does his tactics with bottle cap.
But that's why he doesn't pay any of the players because he just drinks them under the table, makes them sign a 0 contract.
That's what he does. If they can match him,
man.
they get a contract immediately. I think that's exactly what he does.
What's interesting is no one's brought up Brighton, and they've cut it fine in the last 2-3 seasons, like been really close to sort of getting sucked into that. And I think it only went down to like the second last game of the season where they were safe.
True.
So what are your thoughts there? You guys think they're fine?
think
They sort of got under the radar.
We've all got a blind spot for them because of Tao, Like,
But I think their manager's also good, guys. I think Graham Potter's a good manager.
Why? Because he plays tiki-taka football and he finishes 17th. Is that good? Like, it's so negative.
You wouldn't take him at Newcastle.
You wish Newcastle playing tiki-taka and finished 17th.
I hate this mentality. This is why South African football is so poor, because like you play nice football, you finish 17th, and you're so good. Like,
But here's the thing, Nick. No. But here's the thing. It's not about.
There's no chance you'll get relegated.
yeah, there is a chance. So Norwich did it. They went and got relegated.
But here's the thing, though.
Norwich fan. Ask any Norwich fan. Would they like
Nick,
to? Would they have
but
liked
hang
to
on.
got relegated playing good football or stayed up playing shit football?
Yeah, but hang on. But they stayed up and they had.
No, and
here's
Norwich-
the thing, though.
Norwich.
But here's the thing. Norwich went down, but we're talking about Brighton. The manager in himself, he had the idea. Obviously, the wheels came off the track a little bit. He signed 1 or 2 players. The thing is, he got the result of the line. That builds confidence. Let's see. This season, he would have learned what he did last season and maybe change it up a little bit in terms of maybe not be so pure in terms of playing out from the back, etc., etc. And to be fair, they did lose Ben White for £50 million. That's another thing. But I don't think...
Lose?
I think they've got,
Jeez, 50 million.
what did you gain or
come
did you
on.
lose? So was it lose
but
for
come on,
Arsenal or
guys.
lose for? It was a gain.
No, it was a loss for us, bro.
But Wonga, I've been saying this about Ben White is the fact that the previous season when Leeds wanted to sign him, it was for 30. It was going to be for, I think Brighton wanted £35 million. So come on, he played down. He was in the World Cup squad. Obviously, his price has to go up.
Yeah.
I just think we could be doing a lot more with 50.
Guys,
But anyways,
that leads us to the next question. The signing of the season. Which players do you think will be the signing of the season? Wonga Denga, let us know. We're going to start off with you because we're talking about Ben White. Do you think this player, what's going on here? You think he's going to be the best player?
like, I mean, even if he was, I think it'd be outshadowed by results. I think. Who did I say the best player was? Claude, I even forgot now. I
Give me
genuinely
a
forgot.
second. I'll see what you said. Hold on.
See, that's nice. An honest man never has to remember what he said.
It's on record,
Guys,
boy.
It's
He
on
said
my
a
phone.
couple.
But
He said a couple. He said Leon Bailey to Aston Villa. And he
oh
said
yeah, I
Varane
did.
and
They
Varane.
said I think Varane. I think I said Varane because they put him in there for, I mean, obviously just one reason, and that's to lock up their defense. And I think if they get the results, I think it'll be a simple one. I mean, the same thing with Virgil. He went there, changed, and everyone now says he's the best person that ever walked the face of the earth. So I think Varane definitely a signing, and Eric Bailly has a lot of potential. That guy has, and I think at Aston Villa, if they play him right thing, he can do things. So those are my two picks. I think that I put there.
Eric Bailly from where?
Not Eric Bailly.
Not Eric Bailly. It means Leon Bailey from Bailey.
Leon Bailey. Sorry,
Yeah, I was
sorry,
about to say
sorry.
Jamaican.
Yeah,
I was like,
The
huh?
Jamaican.
the Jamaican left winger.
Sterling's homeboy. Sterling's homeboy.
Nick, who do you think?
There's only one. Lukaku. Lukaku. Signing of the season. Me. I said it.
Wow. Fuck's sake.
Signing of the season.
What did
100 million pounds.
Yeah? Settle?
100 million
No,
pound signing of the
what-
season.
I can't hear Musa properly, man. What's happening?
Is
there?
Musa
He's
has
saying
Musa been
100
put inside a very large glass bottle, like a giant
Oh,
toy
sorry,
ship?
you're
I think that's production saying,
Oh, no.
we've had enough of
Turn
this
your
guy.
mic. Yeah. I thought
It's
you-
fine.
but
Anyway,
it's still
Settle, who
good.
do you think is going to be the player of the season there? So we've got
Man.
Lukaku.
Jadon Sancho. That's for me because hey man, I don't know why he's not highly rated in the Premier League for some reason, but I feel he's going to be the guy. Definitely.
He's never played Prem football though.
Exactly. He's not highly rated, but he's rated highly in Germany, and I think he's got a lot to prove. Obviously, he's a London boy, came up through City ranks, and now he's back in the Premier League. So I think he's going to be the biggest signing. Yeah.
I think he's an interesting one. But
Under
if I'm looking
Ole.
between him, under Ole. But like if you're looking at him versus Varane, I think which one will help transform the team, and I think it's the latter,
The centre back.
not
The centre
Sancho,
back.
yeah.
The centre
So
back.
for
Yeah.
me, that's why I would lean towards that because Sancho's kind of got a free pass in a way, apart from the figure, but he does have a free pass because then they've got other options up front. Whereas at the centre half, that's where we're going to see the big difference, in my opinion. Matt, who do you think is going to be the big
are
difference?
both going to work out to be like the Van der Beek opinion.
At least no worries.
I think for me,
This is just shooting things. He's killing things dead. The man's not. He's not
he's just
misfiring
saying
it.
stuff.
Shooting.
I think for me, there's so many different ways to measure signing of the season because it's like the biggest impact that they'll have on a particular team, the best value for money, the most exciting kind of football. I think there's a lot of candidates in the league this season. Sancho, definitely one of them. Lukaku, definitely one of them, as much as Musa doesn't want to hear it. In terms of value for money, perhaps not, but in terms of the impact he could have at Chelsea, definitely.
Yeah.
Sancho, I think he's going to be an exciting footballer. I do think he could change fortunes United. I think he gives them that extra option up front and you look at United last season, there was a couple of times where they were kind of crying out for just something different up front. There were games where they just struggled, and he's the kind of player who can come on and do something. He's got a bit of creativity, he's got a bit of bravery, which I think could be a change. I did end up saying though, Romero to Spurs, simply because I think he's going to have a huge impact at Spurs. You look at Spurs' weakness at the moment, having lost Alderweireld, we've got a very weak back line before Romero got there. We were basically looking at a starting back pairing of Dyer and Sanchez, which is very error-prone, very going to be, you can't build a serious league run of form on the back of that. And Romero comes highly rated, best defender in Italy last season, really quality baller. I think he's going to have huge impact at Spurs, going to change our defensive makeup. I think he's going to be a real leader at the back. So I said Romero, but that said, there's any number of players. I think a lot of the signings that are coming in this season are going to have huge impacts. Like I think a lot of clubs have done some very smart business. We've even not really talked about Grealish. I think because of the figure, we kind of discount it, but he's also going to have, I think he could be a really key player for City. I think City are going to have a good season. And I think he's going to play some, if you think about, again, that's a player who brings something different to what they've got, because he'll go into the City midfield and he does something that nobody else at City really does. The way his creativity is a different brand of creativity to what they've got. He's not the same as De Bruyne. He's not the same.
But an interesting thing, Matt, just to touch on that, is what he does is the fouls that he wins. And one of the key the scouts were looking at Man City was they were saying their strength as a team, they don't take advantage of their set pieces, and they're hoping that bringing in a player like Grealish and hopefully in the coming weeks, to your detriment, to Harry Kane, would really help them bolster from set pieces with regards to the amount of fouls that Grealish wins when retaining possession, and then also Kane in the box. So those are the two areas that they are focusing on or really, really honing on. So let's see what happens from that perspective. So that is a valid point. I think a couple of names that haven't been mentioned.
Can I just answer Darren's question?
Yeah,
Darren, I don't know, man. Brexit, COVID has messed up everything in terms of signings. If there was no Brexit, he wouldn't have to get a visa, but now he has to get a visa. So, and that took long. We have to register him by noon tomorrow. So I don't know. Let's see what happens if we register him by in time. I doubt he'll start the game. Lindelof will probably start the game. So let's see what happens. But yeah.
Mostly your professional
Aman.
opinion based on Aman's comment here, please. I mean, he's asking
Yeah.
it. Ole, does he really ruin players? You might as well tell them how professional your outlooks are.
Of the four players he's mentioned there in that team or in those group of players, already two Man United fans want to leave. Pogba and Martial, they like see them as not the best and most significant players in the world. I rate those players pretty highly. It's true. So a lot of Man United fans underrate the value that those guys create for a team.
No,
And
people
there've
want
Just
been a
got a lot
lot
of
of
Man United fans. We could ask them how many of them want to sell those four
people
players.
want Pogba to leave because he's got one more year left. That's the only reason, not about his performances.
that hasn't happened since the beginning of this transfer window. It's been happening for the past 2 seasons where a lot of the Man United fans have felt that Pogba doesn't fit with the locker room, doesn't fit with the ethos, doesn't fit with the energy that the club needs and the passion that the club wants to see in its players. Whereas I've been vehemently against players like Pogba's stature actually being in a Man United shirt because I feel like he can contribute a lot more to the club success and other club successes if he was in a different league.
You see,
Or
Carlo
team.
as well. Carlo's asking the same question, but I hear what you mean, Musa. I guess there are some he does. I guess there are fans that feel that maybe he hasn't shown his best foot forward or whatever. I don't know, but that's what they see. But I feel that especially in the relationship that he's built with Ole, he's built quite a nice relationship with him. Pogba. Has been a consummate professional. He's played well. I think he was probably our best player since, from about January until the end of the season. And he gave us. And when he got injured against Everton or against Arsenal, the wheels came off because when he got injured, Man United were number one on the table. And then once he got injured, Man United just went down. And obviously that also coincided with Bruno getting a bit tired as well. Because also what happens is that you rely on one player too much, and then the other player that you could rely on to put it to give the energy, he's injured, and then that's when the wheels came off.
Too many nights in the Europa League made him tired there, obviously. So, unfortunately. But can I ask you something, Silo, on a serious note? And I think we haven't really spoken about this, but Harry Kane to City, potentially on, potentially off now because Grealish has been signed. If I'm a Man United fan, I go all out, want my club to go all out for Harry Kane and spend the money because could he be the missing piece?
The problem is, man, is that you know how Man United is. We don't spend a lot. Like we won't spend like 200 in the window. You know what I mean? I think we're talking about we need to sell to buy right now. That's the talk at Old Trafford. We need to sell to buy. So if we sell players, then we can only think about buying players. But yeah, I would definitely take Harry Kane. You know what I mean? I would definitely I would definitely dangle some of my nice jewels in front of Daniel Levy and Matt's face, and say, hey man, listen.
I don't know if they'd appreciate you dangling your jewels in front of them.
So then my question comes in. You guys are disgusting. But tell me, if you had to pick at the beginning of the window,
in Celo's mind, how transfer deals work. what goes on in that boardroom?
Dangle something in the front of the face.
I don't know, but
Just Daniel Levy walking in wearing nothing but a silk kimono.
But tell me,
Hello, you're
beginning of
here
the
to deal.
window, Celo,
Yeah.
you could get Harry Kane and Varane or Sancho and Varane. Who would you? Which combination would you have
I'll
taken?
go for Varane and Harry Kane.
So the money that they've spent on Sancho, then you start to think, but it's also a bit of a poker match for these clubs, because everyone was probably dead set once he sort of said to Spurs that he wants to leave, that City would get him. And it's all really up in the air because, Matt, you want to keep him, obviously. But, does he really want to be there? It's not going to be ideal for you to have a player who actually doesn't want to be there.
This is where I think it's going to go for Spurs. I think he's going to stay this season. I don't think he's going to City, largely because he doesn't have that clause that Grealish had in his contract. That's the difference. And he's done it in the past. Levy's done it in the past with other players where they've wanted to go, and he's rather kept them for another season and sold them for less. And that's history, that's track record. And my gut feeling saying that's what Levy will probably do, keep him for another season and try and gear up. But at the same time, this is football, we never know. A couple other players I just want to touch on before we move on and wrap up the show. Daka going to Leicester City, Vestergaard going to Leicester City, Trincão at Wolves. And then there's one more player that I just want to mention and get your opinions on. And obviously for Darren, Firpo at left back there for Leeds. How big of an impact do we think these players are going to be for their teams?
Yeah, no, I think what's this guy? Vestergaard coming in will be huge for Leicester, because obviously Fofana tore as a meniscus or something in his leg before that preseason game. Obviously he's out for like 10 months or whatever, maybe the whole season even. So I think they definitely needed someone to come in, partner with Soyuncu. So I think definitely he's definitely going to be a good signing for them. Daka will be given some time to acclimatize. I think Iheanacho and Vardy will be ahead of him. But hey man, guys, Leicester, they even signed Soumare from Lille in France, who's also a good centre mid, 23 years old. So Leicester always do their business very well. A well-run club. I wish I could just take their back rooms, their board, their management, and just take all of them and just throw them in at Old Trafford and just kick out all the other guys at Old Trafford, because Mahrez, Kante, they always get the right players into their team, and they fit in so well, and they just go under the radar, just do things simply. They don't fight with any other teams. Then they sell their players for good money as well, 80 million, 50 million. Arsenal's also about to pay 50 plus for Madison, or if they do, but yeah.
That's 100%, Phil. I agree 100%, because even if you look at Fofana as a case, he was a brilliant signing for Leicester, and he added so much solidity and rigidness to that defense, with being an unsung hero for the club, allowing them to regain their momentum in the Premier League and allow them to try and, venture further up the log. Hopefully it does pan out this season, where all their signings do actually make them improve their log standings, where they can compete. I saw none of us had them in their top, had Leicester in our top fours.
Yeah.
But potentially, that is something to think about for them as well. But
also, they'll be there. They'll be there until the last 2 weeks of the season, and then they'll just fall
last game of the
season. Always choke at the end.
Gus Trincão, the Portuguese player, also Palhinha apparently might go to Spurs. That's exciting for you, Matthew. But nonetheless, we're going to just talk about Trincão. Trincão, the player going to Wolves, the youngster that was at Barcelona. He has played with Neto in the past, in Braga, in Portugal, so it's possible to do a meeting up again. We do know it's a new manager coming in there at Wolves, Portuguese manager, but he is one who is believed to foster young talent. And this is a talent on the books, in my opinion. So question, I don't know if any of you know about the player or what your opinions are about the player, Trincão.
Yeah, I've
seen little bits. He looks quality. I think, and he's at the right side. I think Wolves know how to treat those youngsters. Obviously, it remains to be seen how the new manager is going to play this season. But I think it's potentially going to be a really good signing for them. And he could have some. I think the challenge for all young players coming into the Premier League for the first time is that time and again, especially those coming from like Spain, Portugal, Italy, they talk about it being really physical, more physical than they're used to, and it's how quickly they can adapt to that. Because also managers are quite cutthroat. It's a results business. They can't give players too long to adapt. So if he doesn't pick it up quick, he could see himself sidelined. We've seen it time and time again. Young players coming to England, not make a big impact, then go away to the continent and blow up. Gerard Piqué is a very good example. He really didn't do much at United, and look what he is today. And I think it's one of those cases where it's how quickly he can adapt to the game. If he can get on a run of good form, if he can find his niche, kind of step up and also find a good click with his team. So it's always a tough one for younger players, because some bigger names will be given more time. The likes of Sancho, for example, he's never played in the Premier League, but he'll be given time. If it doesn't work out the first couple of weeks, no one's going to be saying, leave him on the bench, bring on someone we can trust. That people will give him that time to adapt.
But
Like
that's the
Timo Werner,
scary thing
they let him play the whole season, basically, regardless of what it looked like. And
We say that, but
with
that's
these
the
younger
scary
players,
thing
they
with-
don't get that time.
We say that, but that's a scary thing with what happened with Van der Beek at Man United. Literally a pretty recognized player in Europe. He's done very well for Ajax. Came in at a very good deal for Man United, but wasn't given the opportunity all the time at all. And that's why we criticized the management that these players are moving towards. Even Varane and Sancho, we kind of do expect them to be able to play at that level and be of a pedigree which would allow them to shine at that level. But under that type of manager, players like Sancho are going to need to be put under a wing. And Ole, I don't know if he's going to be the right manager to put those type of players under a wing.
Yeah,
Werner, that's why I think Werner has
Werner's
this
had 2
season
managers
actually.
and he's still
Excuse me?
flopped.
Yeah, there's 4 wings. Already 4 wings.
Sorry. Carry on, Musa. Sorry.
No, I just think that's why Werner has to flourish this season, or else it's the support that he's garnered over the past season, where he was continuously selected ahead of other meaningful players that could do very well in his same position, was just the show of support and show of confidence in him by the manager, as opposed to the lack of faith from the manager.
Valid.
So guys,
Yeah.
why aren't we talking about the guy that my friend here, what's his name? That my friend
What's going on here? This guy, you see what happens when you give someone admin control? Who takes over?
Guys, this guy signed Harold from Big Bang Theory.
I was going to say he's the 5th member of the Beatles.
Spurs signed
Gill,
Harold from Big Bang Theory, guys.
I reckon he could be a solid player.
How could you take it seriously, guys? Big Bang Theory has landed in the Premier League in North London at White
Celo,
House.
I'm just really happy you put something on the screen there, because although I suppose it didn't make a difference, because I see ADD's kicked in with Nick because he's lost focus here. At least I was hoping something on the screen would make him stare at it, but it didn't work. All right, guys, we've got two final questions, and we can decide which one we want to answer because we don't have enough time to do both. We can discuss the flop of the season, or we can discuss how we think our teams will do this season.
Well, let's do the flops.
The last one.
Flop
of the season. And this is in terms of the signing. So which signing do you think is going to flop? Mosa, stop grinning. We know which name you're going to say.
I'm excited!
He's going to say Lukaku.
Wonga, let's hear
Now,
yours.
look, I won't be, like I said in my one, I don't see a signing that, especially if the big ones, is going to flop. And it's just like Matt said. I think it's I think all the signings, the ones I've seen, the guys have all got great potential to be great. But I just think maybe the price tag on some of the players will probably that's where the expectations will be. Like if Grealish gets 8 assists, they're going to be like, did he really have a good season? 8 assists and maybe like 5 goals. Did he have a really have a good season? They're going to expect a lot from the big signings, and I think maybe I think your flop will probably come out from those guys, the guys who went there for big money. But all the signings that I've seen so far have been decent ones.
Not Ben White. Yeah. Okay, Nick Stothard, who do you think?
Nah.
I think Celo's not going to like this, but I think Sancho's not going to have a great season. I think he's going to take time to adapt. I think he's still young. I think he'll come right in the next 6 to 8 months. So I think there's a lot of expectations, and I don't think he's going to be.
It's like strong the whole team. Sorry, Nick. Carlos coming saying Arsenal's the flop this season. Wonga, you wanna say something here?
What can I say? Arsenal fans. I even read after Mikala at a press conference today. I just couldn't watch it. But guys were even saying, the one guy said, "This is the first time I've been uninterested in a league," and I feel the same. I'm uninterested.
Hey, man,
it's definitely not the
out of football for Wonga.
There's nothing. It's painful. Like I can even, if we took a video from when you started this thing last year and to now, I'm sure there's a difference. Last year I was awful, very awful, and now.
You'd
Come
have
on,
to have
man.
kind of
Come on, be
you'd
like
have
Nick,
to have
man.
expectations.
Nick is always happy and passionate about his club. He understands his situation and he knows
Nick
his feelings.
criticizes teams that try and play good football.
He understands
That's
it,
what
whereas
he
I
us, we can't
don't.
understand it.
I don't criticize. I criticize when it's unrealistic. I'll show you guys a stat. I'll actually tell you the stat. Who do you think passes the ball out the back? Who passed the ball out the back from a goal kick the most in the Premier League last
Brighton.
season? No,
Leeds.
Brighton were close. I'll
Leeds.
tell you now. Where do you think Man City finished on that? Interesting. Interesting stat.
Man City do the long ball as well from
Mid.
Edison. So I would say
Yeah, he
But
can
they do it a lot. I would say top
Number
5, definitely.
number 5.
Top
Number five.
Also,
one,
but you know what?
Chelsea.
You're not doing
Top
him
one.
justice when you say long ball, because that's not a long ball. He finds the man.
It's a
feet.
pass.
Yeah.
It's a pass. Yeah.
So,
And assists.
a short goal kick is deemed within 40 meters of the radius of the center of the goal. Okay, 40 meters is quite
It's quite a
far
distance.
distance.
Yeah, it's
Chelsea,
quite a distance.
number one, 69%. Liverpool, 68%, which is, I'm a little bit surprised because if the season that you won, I think that stat would have been a little bit less because I think you got the ball forward as quickly as possible. Man United, 3rd. Leeds, 5th. Tottenham, 5th. Leeds,
Arsenal?
4th. Tottenham, 5th. And then, sorry, Man City are 6th. Brighton are 7th. Arsenal
Useless.
are number 10, I think. Leicester
Yeah,
and Wolves.
Yes, we don't
I'm
win
not
anything.
surprised-
to
I'm
be
not
honest.
surprised with Brighton. I'm
Yeah,
not
you
surprised with
mid-table
Brighton.
for everything, Sam.
Table for everything, bro. No top 6 for you. No top 6 for you.
Oh,
Goals
man.
scored,
Another
not
flop.
top 6. Goals conceded,
Flops.
not top 6.
Flop on flop. Yeah? He's flopping everywhere. He does flopping, boy. Okay, Seno, who's your flop of the season?
Hey man, my flop of the season, guys. Just merely because of the decisions that this club makes doesn't make sense. The flop of the season for me is Aaron Ramsdale pending his move to Arsenal, and I say this because Arsenal let go of Emiliano Martinez to Villa for 20-something million pounds. Now they're going to spend the same amount of money on Aaron Ramsdale. That's just ridiculous, man. That's the
Yeah,
flop
that's
of the season.
crazy.
Mm.
That's
That-
crazy.
Yeah, it's dumb.
It's just the decision is just a flop for me. So that's the one for me.
Arteta says, funny thing is, Arteta, they spoke to him and he says he's happy with the transfer window and what's happening.
He has to
So,
be
yeah,
happy.
But what can he
wants his
say?
job. He wants
Yeah,
his
what can
job.
he
If
say?
he says he's not happy there, so we'll find someone else to be a yes.
Yeah.
Who's
What's
yours,
the flop of
Claudio?
the season?
Oh.
Flop of the season.
It's
I like
obvious,
Ah, it's
Diaz
gentlemen.
one.
obvious. That's
It's
why I asked you,
obvious.
Claudio.
We're skipping Mosa.
It's
Man,
Look at this guy
obvious.
say his own. I think he says his own players a flop. Yo, wow.
Uh,
That's how bad
This
it
is
is,
a
man.
Chelsea
just-
fan. This is the definition of Chelsea fans. They come at their own players from the beginning before they've even touched the ground, man.
Definitely,
Okay, man.
Guys,
definitely not a family club.
No.
if Kai Havertz didn't end off his season on a very high note last season, he would have been a major flop of the season. Lukaku is the spend that we put on Lukaku is 20 million more, and we thinking he's gonna give us a really good season.
But Mosa, your
I say he's gonna
fixation
be a
on
flop.
but you fixated on the amount paid for this play, but you need to put it in
Yes.
context of the rest
Like I said-
of the world in terms of what people are spending on players. And I think when you're justifying, I think everyone's touched on this. The fee is justified in comparison
Yeah,
to what you are getting.
The numbers are
Nah.
meaningless. You can't get hung up on the numbers.
No, and
I'm
he's
hung
hung up
up.
on the numbers. He's hung.
Yeah.
He's hung. Okay, Matt,
Yeah.
your flop. Who's your flop?
So you're not going to like this, Claudio, but I have a reason why I'm doing this. I say Konate. And I have a reason because, look, he's a solid player.
He's huge.
The challenge
he's a giant.
got,
He's a
I
young
get
giant.
that. But you guys are all the family club there. See him as the Virgil van Dijk 2.0. And
Yeah.
when Van Dijk came,
No one said that.
you guys turned from also rans to league winners. And I think he's coming there with this expectation that he's going to fix your defensive problems. He's going to, you look at what your guys' defense was like last season. I think all of you guys see him as the solution. And I think the challenge is that's too much. He's a very young player. He's going to be alongside the defense. His defensive partners are going to chop and change early on because Van Dijk's not going to be ready to come back straight away. There's going to be some transition. He's not going to have sort of a team to play with. The back four is not going to be settled for a large part of his kind of early run in the league. I do think he's going to. I'm not saying that he's going to be a complete failure forever in England. I think he could come good next season, but I think this season, looking back on it, we'll think, oh, he didn't quite live up to what we'd all hoped for. So I'm saying Konate as a flop of the big signings. So
I think you know why I find that's interesting because If you speak to, and I'm going to say this, you guys listening, if you speak to an educated Liverpool fan, I think the assumption isn't coming in here.
Is it an educated Liverpool
So
fan?
that means he's
So,
not
I'm sorry.
educated.
Sorry. What a is it? I'm confused. Can only Liverpool fans be educated, or is there a
you get
specific
different
type
types.
of Liverpool fan?
No, they're
is
all
educated?
different types of fans at each
quite
club,
a-
and you know this, man.
quite a
Don't try
family-
and.
I'm just. I just want to see. I just want to know who you're insulting specifically. Is it other types
I'm
of Liverpool
saying-
fans or other non-fans? I just.
Quite a statement
I don't
from
know.
a family club, eh?
It is.
Yeah,
It
man.
is. It's very
you
classist.
should love everyone.
At the educated
It's very
fan.
classist.
You should
I
respect
feel-
everyone's opinion.
From
And
other
agree.
fans.
We're
Other
going to need a
Liverpool fans.
disclaimer. You know, scenes of discrimination in this show. Apparently, if you're not
Oh my
educated, you're
goodness.
not good enough for Liverpool.
Okay,
There's sort of an entrance exam
Well, no, but
to Liverpool
I
fandom.
suppose what I mean by
Benchmark
this is
test.
that
Where do you find an educated fan? Look at that. Look at that.
But okay, Claudia, tell us,
man.
help
Carlo
us
asking the
uneducated
question,
fans.
where do you find an educated fan? Carlo, have you not been watching the show? I don't know what's going on there. Is he... Anyway, no, okay. I think most Liverpool fans are coming. We are aware of the fact that he's a young player. We are aware of the fact, especially based on what happened last season in terms of all the centre back pairings. I think one of the most things that we are excited about is not necessarily that this player is going to come in and save us, but the fact that we've got a player of decent quality that will be in rotation with the other players who are fit, and that's the exciting part. So it's not that we expect him to be the next Virgil van Dijk, but we do think playing alongside Virgil van Dijk, Gomez, and Joel Matip, to be fair, who's a class player when he's not broken. I mean, he's glass. That's what he is, definitely glass. But when he's not, I think this player is going to learn, and in future might become a sort of Virgil van Dijk-esque if he learns from them. So I think it might be a bit harsh to say he's going to be the flop of the season when I don't think he's going to get as much game time as he would if, one of the players do get injured, I think, personally speaking. But my flop of the season is Ben White. Largely because they're going to be spending that £50 million on this player. Despite the fact that he's a good player, there's going to be a lot of expectation. He is going to be starting for Arsenal, and I don't think the results are going to be all that different, unfortunately. And I think the heaped pressure on the market, on the price tag that Wonga keeps talking about, is going to be the factor in terms of him being a flop and not being
Claude,
given the time to develop.
You just told me not to worry about the numbers and not to think about the numbers.
But I'm saying the English player,
And
Lukaku's
you guys,
proven for
how
the
much
numbers.
did you guys spend on Konate? 36, 37 million, something like that, 40 million? 35.
Not 50 million.
Okay, so he gets a buy. He can be a squad player rotation for 35.
35 million
Ben
pounds.
White, 15 million pounds more.
50.
He must.
15
But
million,
I'm saying 15 more.
15 more.
So,
15 more.
15
Yeah,
more.
but the difference is,
I see the
Ben
bias.
The
White
difference is he's not
expected-
going to the family club.
No. Ben White is
think
the
expected to
bias-
hit the ground running with the jersey on his back starting. Konate,
And Konate's not going to do that.
The expectation is not exactly the same. We're not expecting him to come in there and be the difference at the back. Ben White, unfortunately for Arsenal, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you guys don't believe this, they're expecting him to be the difference here, or it certainly helped losing the players.
100%. I think
It's supposed
Exactly.
to add. Yes, it's supposed to add.
So-
yes, but also the fact that I think they're similar ages. You know what I mean? They're similar ages.
Claudio,
Ben White, come on, man.
I
But
disagree with you, Claudio. He's coming in to be the savior for your team.
Claude-
You guys had
Yeah,
the worst.
scenes of bias. Scenes of bias.
You had a terrible season at the back
I
last
see
season.
what you did
And
there.
you buy a centre back.
Right.
You buy a centre back, and you're telling me that he's not bought in.
Also,
He's brought in.
as of today,
He's
he's
a
Liverpool's
solution.
only signing.
So much
So
pressure.
he
man.
has to.
That
he
will
has to be
change
the
if Shaqiri
solution.
goes out. If Shaqiri
He has
goes
to
out,
be
that'll
the-
change.
He has to be the solution.
There we go. Ben White is 23. Konate is 21. He's a youngster, lots of pressure, and also.
So 2 years and 15 million pounds is all the difference between them.
But
Yes.
23 centre back, guys. Centre back is no joke for a youngster.
But
man.
he's a giant.
Let's
You
be
said he's a
honest, when
giant.
you spend-
You said he's
Who,
solid.
Konate?
Yeah, you
No,
said he's a
Konate is solid,
giant.
but I'm saying the pressure, guys. The pressure, whatever you guys say, the pressure isn't the same for Konate versus Ben White right now. It's not. Konate is
think-
walking into a Liverpool squad that is a good squad with manager that knows what he's doing, who track record of developing players. Ben White
You conceded
is
8
going to a
goals last season, and you signed a
Guys,
centre back.
20
So,
different.
you conceded 8 goals in one game.
Centre back pairings. Come on, man.
Yeah,
But I don't think
8
But
goals
looking at
in
Ben
one
White,
game.
And he's supposed to
Ben
bring
White is-
stability.
Arsenal, come on.
He's supposed to bring
No.
stability in
one
being a highly rated defender. Stability. He has had
But
no
Ben White-
stability at the back.
I don't think
Wonga,
Ben
yeah.
White will be, because Ben White, I think, because I watched him through the preseason. As a player, he's good.
No, he's a good
And
player.
he's a good player. He's a good footballer. 50 million is a lot.
Finished 17th.
But-
as well.
But then again, you see, like that's what I'm saying. You're going to be taking that guy, and you can't. I mean, the rest of the team, looking at the whole defense as a whole, how they're defending together. I think as individually, he defends well, but the way Arsenal defend as a team, just in moments, and I think that's what Arsenal needs to
Exactly.
correct. And I think it's gonna. I mean, obviously, if you're playing under something that doesn't work, it's not gonna work. So I think rating Ben White on that, I don't think will be. And I don't think. I think even the Arsenal fans will see it. That it's probably he won't be the problem in us conceding.
Okay, so you think
Look at that, I can see the goals
that's
really
gonna be the
coming.
pause. That's going to be the pause. But does anyone else feel Matt's just left out because we didn't say a good signing there or a bad signing for Spurs? And I think he's feeling
No,
sad.
I think we said Harold from Big Bang Theory will be a good signing.
Oh, yes.
I think he's
Yeah, Brian Gill's going to be decent. But I think, to be fair, I mean, obviously there's still a lot hanging on what Spurs do with Kane, if they hold on to Kane or not. But I think on the quiet, Spurs have done some pretty good business this transfer window. I think Romero and Gill are two really solid players. I think they could really make a difference. If we hold on to Kane, that's huge. I'm going to pull out Claudio. It's like a new signing if we hold on to Kane. And this one actually
like
hasn't been
Arsenal.
injured for a
Guys,
year.
Van Dijk did not play the whole season last season. What are you guys saying? Like, how
wasn't Van Dijk
Completely
playing
different player.
in the famous 8-2 game?
Yeah, he was there.
He was there.
Yeah,
He was
For the
there.
famous 8-2 game, he was there.
He was there.
the
was there
cracks.
for the
Then
The
they-
cracks was great.
Force
Exactly.
Claudio
Starting 8-2.
to deal with
8-2.
facts. Those facts aren't educated facts. He only deals with educated facts.
Thanks,
Not
man.
And none of us,
facts
none of
like
us,
scorelines. We're not
the
qualified
moment-
to understand the Liverpool team.
and
We
at
haven't
the
done the
moment,
entrance
we're not
exam.
so educated.
Yeah.
Not so educated. enough.
We can't sing "You'll Never Walk Alone" backwards. We just don't pass the test.
You know what? Matt knows what he's talking about, guys. Listen to that's something that he knows. He knows the entry levels. Okay. Right, guys. We're going to round off the show. Final thoughts before we head out. What do you want to end off on? We're going to start with Wonga Denga, Matt, Mossa, Nick, and then Selo. Let's hear those final thoughts, gents.
Like me, I just said it's quite sad that I'm not as excited as I was previous seasons at the start, and I am pretty much worried about tomorrow coming into Brentford. I think Brentford are looking at this and they're saying, "Guys, let's open this with a good result," because I think they probably do believe they can get the better of Arsenal, and that's probably that's the worst thing for me at the moment. And we need the win. And our games after that is also worrying as well. But yeah, you go, Matt.
I'm just glad the season's back. I'm so excited. I don't have huge expectations for Spurs season. I think we'll be better than we were last season. I'm not, but I don't think we're gonna. You saw I didn't put us top 4. I think it's gonna be a fun season. I'm excited to see our new signings, and I think it's just gonna be a good league. I think there's gonna be some really good football. There's some really good players in the league. I can't wait to get it started. I think it's gonna start with a wonderful Brentford 2-0 winning against Arsenal. And what a way to start the weekend. Let's do it.
London Derby.
From my side, I'm super excited to see Chelsea, bring on that European success into the domestic league, and hopefully doing it with the players that were, signed last year and given the chance to actually understand the domestic league a bit better and grow from strength to strength in the domestic league. Watching the preseason, like players like Ziyech, who were very good signings last season, but didn't actually shine and transition over to the domestic league quite well. Watching them in this preseason all the way up to the injury that he picked up recently is exciting, and notes and signs of like what could happen in the Chelsea team if everything goes well. So I'm excited to see that success trickle down from Europe into the domestic league for Chelsea this season. So I can't wait for the season to take over.
Yeah, I'm excited as all the other boys are, as you all are. Football's back. football's back, and it's exciting
Is it
to
coming
know
home,
that
Nick?
there's. I'd love it to come home, but funny enough, I've missed sort of ranting a little bit about Brucey Ball and his bacon sandwiches. But yeah, so we'll see. We'll see if I have something to smile about on Tuesday. So yeah. But it's good to be back, and yeah, for me, from the football side, if we can keep a Wilson, say Maximum, a Willock, if we do get him over the line, and Miguel Almiron fit, we've got every chance to sort of throw the cat amongst the pigeons. So yeah, let's see.
Yeah, no, my side, just responding to what Kolwa said there about Amad Diallo going on loan. I think I would rather keep him in the squad and let go of a guy like Dan James. I think Darren would definitely appreciate a guy like Dan James on his team. Supersonic energy for days would fit in perfectly with Leeds' manic training. So yeah, Kolwa, I would like Diallo to stay, man. I really like him. But Ole, sometimes he can make some weird decisions. But yeah, this season is big for Ole, man. I think he's got the signings that he wanted. He wanted a Sancho, he wanted a Varane, and I think the last piece would be a defensive midfielder. So he does want apparently another signing. So let's see if he can get his defensive mid. But he's got no more excuses. He's got the players on the bench. He needs to show that he can actually be a coach of Manchester United, because if he can't, then time is up, and then your chance is gone, basically, and then you'll be fired.
Yeah.
And then Musa will get his wish of Ole out. But it's defining season for him, So let's see what happens. Yeah.
And then Steve Bruce is coming home.
Yeah, bring him to us. We'll bring him there, man. We'll feed him nicely.
Guys, quick one. It's just yes or no. Question from Ricky here. Do you think Everton Rafa will beat Liverpool in the Merseyside derby this season? Wonga, yes, no. And then we move the same way we just did. Yes or no, guys?
I'd like to say it, so yes.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't think so, no.
1 out of 2 games they'll win.
I think a draw.
Yeah.
A draw for one of the games, and then they'll lose the other one.
Yeah, he's a draw merchant, Benitez. He knows how to do it. Right, guys, my side, final thoughts. I've got 2 things to mention. First and foremost, Wonga Dinga, can you please just stand up, take a step back, and just do a little twirl so people can see you properly quickly and see what you look like life size? Can you just do that for us? Quickly.
What?
What?
Just do it. 'Cause we got an announcement. We got an announcement to make.
I mean, that's not really how life size works, because he's still on the screen. Like, let's
It's still, I mean, don't use a ruler to measure him. Don't use a ruler to measure him. Okay, guys, we got something exciting. We are going to be launching something called Fresh Legs, where Wonga is heading up. He's going to be taking on a lot of young guys, youth coaching, and he's going to be talking to them on a separate channel called Fresh Legs. We're going to feature it on the same channel as Goal Lounge. So look out for that. You'll be doing basic football skills, and then also we'll be getting youngsters talking about the Premier League just like we are doing. So that's something to look forward to. Then the second thing, if you have not joined our fantasy league yet, you suck, firstly. Secondly, if you win our league, you can see Mossa's already got things there. He's got things playing there. Second thing, if you win our fantasy league, we will be giving away prizes, so look out for that. And then, gents, I'm going to count down to 3. You know how to enter the show. Okay, you ready? 3, 2, 1.
Stop it.